Hola, vamos a aprender sobre lección 4, gustar. So a few basics. The verb gustar means to like, or in terms of how it will be understood in Spanish, has more the idea of to be pleasing to. It fits into the Spanish grammar a little bit better. But in English, it would be understood as to like. So the verb gustar is an irregular verb, as in it doesn't translate word for word. The conjugations would be normal, but how it's used is not, and so therefore not a word-for-word translation. So the object being liked becomes the subject of the sentence, and the person doing the liking becomes an indirect object pronoun, which is a little bit weird. You'll see how that works here in a minute. But the indirect object pronouns are these. We've got me, te, le, nos, os, les, les. And then the steps for translating a gustar sentence, I like to think of it as the 3 R's. You've got rewrite the sentence in the Spanish wording. So that's going to be taking and using is pleasing to, making the item liked or items liked, make that the subject of the sentence, and then make the verb to be is pleasing, and then our indirect object, which is doesn't fully match up with our English grammar perfectly, but in Spanish it's considered an indirect object here, and it's going to be a to me or a to you or a to him. That's going to be our indirect object there at the end. Then the second R is going to be reverse the word order. So typically we have a subject verb in that order for word order, but for gustar sentences, it's going to be in the reverse. So you're going to have indirect object first, then the verb, then the subject. So then remember that indirect object pronoun is going to be the person who's doing the liking. And you're going to have your verb, which is going to be either the conjugation gusta or gustan, which we'll talk about which you'll choose here in a minute. Then you'll have your subject, which is the item liked. And then the third R is replace the English with Spanish. You're going to match gustar, gustan with the subject. So you'd use gusta with a singular subject or gustan with a plural subject. Now let's take a look at what these actually look like where the rubber meets the road. So ejemplos. Ejemplo número uno, I like the pencil. So step 1 is going to be rewrite. So the pencil is pleasing to me. Put it in Spanish phrasing. Step 2 is going to be reverse the word order away from our normal subject verb to indirect object, then verb, then subject. To me is pleasing the pencil. And then step 3 will be replace. We're going to replace the English with the Spanish. So we have me gusta el lápiz. The me will be the to me. Gusta would be gusta, not gustan, because our subject is singular, and then the pencil would be el lápiz. Ejemplo número dos. So you informal like the markers. Step 1, rewrite it. The markers are pleasing to you. Step 2, you're going to reverse it to you are pleasing the markers. And then step 3, you're going to replace the English with the Spanish. So the to you would be a te. The markers would be los marcadores. And you use gustan because our subject, los marcadores, is plural. So te gustan los marcadores. All right, so we're going to try it. So I like the doors. You should have me gustan las puertas. So I like the doors becomes the doors are pleasing to me. Then to me are pleasing the doors. Replace to me is me gustan. Is pleasing to, it's gusta, not gusta, because las puertas, our subject, is plural. They like the laboratory. Les gusta el laboratorio. Número 3, we like the books. Should have nos gustan los libros. Número 4, she likes Jack's desk. Should have le gusta el escritorio or el pupitre de Jack. And número 5, you informal like calculators. Te gustan las calculadoras. Got a few more here if you want to have a few extra examples. All right. Más detalles, a few more details. So making it negative, how do you make a sentence negative in Spanish, especially then these Gustar sentences? So in order to make a Gustar sentence negative, add a no before the indirect object pronoun. So I don't like the clock. You'd have no me gusta el reloj. They don't like the tables. No les gustan las mesas. So make it negative. We don't just stick it in front of the verb, which is normal. We're going to stick it in front of the indirect object pronoun, which would be before the verb. Now, to like activities. So activities someone likes to do, use the infinitive form of the verbs like a noun. So for the sake of choosing gusta or gustan, Spanish treats infinitives as singular, no matter how many of them that they are. So we like to learn would be learning is pleasing to us. That would be the rewrite, reverse. To us is pleasing learning. And then replace nos gusta aprender. Because it's an infinitive, we use gusta. But they don't like to talk or sing. Singing or talking is not pleasing to them. Reverse it. To them is not pleasing walking or singing. Then replace no les gusta caminar o cantar. You'll see there we have two infinitives. It's still gusta. Now, clarification or emphasis. This is where it gets a little tricky. So we have ley and lace, those indirect object pronouns. They have the possibility for ambiguity. So to alleviate that ambiguity or vagueness, we can add a prepositional phrase at the start of the sentence to help clear up that vagueness. So here are our prepositional pronouns. We have mi, ti, usted, él, ella, nosotros or nosotras, vosotros or vosotras, ustedes, and ellos or ellas. Now notice this is very similar to our subject pronouns. The only difference is in the first person singular instead of yo, it's me. And in the second person informal singular, you have ti instead of tu. You have an accent on me, no accent on ti. And we will be having a quiz on this as well. So stay tuned for that. This will be on both of the charts, the indirect object pronouns chart and the prepositional pronouns chart. So a couple of examples here of using this clarification and emphasis. So clarification would be for the lays and the laces, the bottom half of that chart for all the lay and laces. Emphasis is something that we don't really have a lot in English, but they can use the top half of the chart, the me and the ti, the nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, to be extra emphatic about who it is that's liking. It's kind of an optional thing, but they do it from time to time if they want to be kind of throw an exclamation on who's doing the liking. So we have le gusta la escuela, which would be he, she, or you formal, like the school. There's some vagueness there. So if we wanted to clear up the vagueness, we could add a prepositional phrase at the beginning with a, and then él, or ella, or usted, whichever one it was. Le gusta la escuela. Now this sentence, without doubt, means he likes school or likes the school. Now we have Maria and Mary like the library. Now here we have names, not just indirect object pronouns or direct or subject pronouns. We have names here. It's not going to be optional about clarifying. These names are going to be in those clarification prepositional phrase. So instead of using the prepositional pronouns, you'll use the names. It look like this. A Maria y a Mary les gusta la biblioteca. Do notice there's the les in there yet, which in a Gustar sentence, you always need an indirect object pronoun, even if it's not there in English. Here you're going to have the indirect object pronoun then being clarified by those names. Again, not word for word, but when we say Maria and Mary like the library, in Spanish they say a Maria y a Mary les gusta la biblioteca. Now, Stu and I don't like to chat. A Stu y a mí no nos gusta charlar. There you'll see we have one name and a pronoun, a subject pronoun. When it gets turned around, we have a name in the prepositional phrase clarifying, as well as we have a prepositional pronoun there that matches with the I. You informal like to buy cars. Here you have a ti te gusta comprar los carros. This, there is no requirement to have to do emphatic prepositional phrase at the start. That's just there as kind of an extra emphasis, extra exclamation of who it is that likes it. But there is no vagueness there. Te gusta comprar los carros only can mean you like to buy cars. But if they want to be a little extra emphatic, they can put it there. All right, so we're going to try a few more, being as clear and as emphatic as possible. So he likes to rest under the table. You should have a él le gusta descansar debajo de la mesa. She likes to teach and study. You should have a ella le gusta enseñar y estudiar. Jack and Jill don't like quizzes. You should have a Jack y a Jill no les gustan las pruebas. Willie and I like to talk on the weekend. You should have a Willie y a mí nos gusta hablar el fin de semana. You informal like biology. A ti te gusta la biología. And again, this one is for extra emphasis. It's not vague, but I asked you to be as emphatic as possible. So here, being emphatic, you'd have a ti te gusta la biología. There should not be an accent on that T, by the way. It should be a ti, no accent, te gusta la biología. You all don't like to sing next to the teachers. A ustedes no les gusta cantar al lado de los profesores. I like the teacher. A mí me gusta el profesor, or a mí me gusta la profesora. Could have also used maestro or maestra. Oscar likes the bookstore to the right of the school. The bookstore is going to be the word la librería. So a Oscar le gusta la librería a la derecha de la escuela. They like the window. A ellos les gusta la ventana. Número 10, Marv and you don't like to buy pencils. A Marv y a ti no os o les gusta comprar los lápices. The os or les just would depend on if you're in Spain or if you're in South America, where they don't use the vosotros form. If you're in Spain, being it is the a ti here, that would tell you it's informal that you're speaking to, and hence you'd use the vosotros form. El fin.